What's up, you guys? I'm Melanie Komaya. Welcome back to my channel. Today, we're going to be decorating my apartment for Christmas. I've always used a more neutral palette of white, silver, and gold for my Christmas decorations, and this year I decided to make it a little bit more edgy by using a black Christmas tree. I got this tree from Target where it was actually advertised as a Halloween tree, and I got it after Halloween, so it was on sale, so that was a big win. But I read the reviews beforehand, and a lot of them said that this tree would be sparse, which it most certainly is. I also knew that I did not want to use garland on my tree this year, so I ordered these picks from Amazon. They're these beautiful white sparkly berries that go really well with the other kind of natural elements that I like to incorporate into my Christmas decor. However, they ended up not quite being enough since I didn't want to use garland this year, and I also made the mistake of not getting any sprays before they sold out online and in stores. So we ended up having to do, a little extra work to make the tree look nice and full. But as you'll see in the end, everything turned out really pretty. So once my picks are all attached to my tree, I get started on my ornaments. I start with my most sentimental ornaments first. So this one is actually supposed to be a wedding cake. It's from the very first year that I moved to Atlanta and got my dream job of being a wedding planner. Then this next one is of Constance Hatchaway from the Haunted Mansion. She's one of my favorite Disney characters, so I always have her hidden on my tree somewhere. And then I go in with my icicles. Like I said, I like to incorporate different natural elements like snow, icicles, berries into my Christmas decor. I think it just softens it, even though I have like the edgy black tree and don't use classic Christmas colors. My last kind of sentimental ornament is actually a Buckhead. I got it when I first moved to Atlanta, and I knew that I eventually wanted to live in Buckhead, and 5 years later, now I do. So it was kind of cool, like pulling this out of storage and putting this on my tree and seeing a dream that I had 5 years ago come to life. Like I'm putting the Buckhead on my tree in my apartment in Buckhead. The last noticeable natural element that I use on my tree are these two different shapes of stars that I got from Target. These, along with the icicles, I think add some differentiation in the shape of my ornaments. I use a lot of circular ornaments, as you can see here. These Joy and Noel ones are the first of the circular ornaments that I put on my tree. So the long icicles and the stars add some much needed texture. Now I'm gonna start adding my regular ball-shaped ornaments. As you can see, I don't have any cool storage method for them. I store them in the packaging that I bought them in, but I have a ton of them in different shapes and finishes. So I have sparkly, glittery ones, matte ones, shiny ones, and I add these to my tree really however the Christmas spirit moves me. I do have a little trick where I put them a little further back on the branch and nestled more into the tree. I picked this up a few years ago as a way to make a tree look a little less sparse in a non-obvious way. And you'll see that I added that glittery one there. It's set a little farther back from the tip of the branch than you would normally add an ornament. And to me, it makes all the difference in the world as a subtle way to fill in your tree a bit more. Okay, so I'm coming to the end of decorating my tree. I wish I had gotten some like deco mesh or ribbon or something since I wasn't gonna use the garland this year. The picks just aren't enough. The picks are a lot smaller than I thought that they were gonna be, but I love them. I'm glad that I got them. I think they're super cute with the black tree, but she needs more. Like, look, from a distance, she just needs something. She just needs something. So we're gonna go find something to put on her. Let's go. So we went on a little adventure to Home Goods, and I will tell you right now that she gave us both everything and nothing at all. So she had a lot of different items that you could, decorate with around the house, but not a whole lot of like Christmas tree decorations. So I ended up going to a completely different Home Goods location on the next day, as well as Hobby Lobby. And so here you can see, I saw this silver mesh, but it's way too big. And then I thought that this black mesh was sparkly at first, but no. Then I briefly considered adding red to my color palette, but I just cannot function in a home with red accents. I can't. My ADHD is too much. It's too much. So I ended up grabbing this sparkly silver mesh from the wedding section at Hobby Lobby and that ribbon from Home Goods like I was telling you about. So that ribbon is not wired, but it's also not like a floppy satiny ribbon either. It has some stiffness to it. So I was able to layer the ribbon with the mesh and kind of create a custom situation here. I saw someone on either TikTok or IG Reels do something similar to this. If I can find the video, I'll link it below. But she glued the ribbon to either like a bigger ribbon or a mesh and kind of did her own custom thing too. Look, in this small of a space with that nosy of a dog, there is no way that I could have used glue and it not turned out to be a complete and total mess. So I stapled it instead, and I started off by cutting these really long sections of ribbon, and that turned out to be a mistake because the ornaments are already on the tree. Once I started putting the ribbon on the tree, I realized that I would need to cut it down in order to not have to completely redecorate my tree and take all the ornaments off. So I cut it into smaller pieces and just tucked it in either behind ornaments or just into the tree in general to hide it, to make it look as though it was looping through the tree, but in reality, each loop is a separate piece of ribbon. Cutting the individual loops instead of just wrapping one piece of ribbon around the tree gave me the flexibility to fudge it a little bit and add loops of ribbon where the tree was a little bit more sparse. And even within those smaller loops, I made sure that some of them were, tucked in or interrupted by an ornament, so that the places where the ribbon was actually cut looked even more natural because it was occurring in other places on the tree. Would I do this method again? Absolutely not. It took so much time. There was glitter everywhere. If I had known that so much glitter was going to be everywhere, I literally would have boarded the dog for this because it was an explosion. He and I were both covered head to toe in glitter by the time this was done, but in a pinch, this method worked out really, really well. And here is the finished black, gold, and silver tree. I think the ribbon came out super natural, and the ornaments that are nestled a little bit more into the tree also add a really nice level of dimension. Like I said before, the amount of glitter that the ribbon and the mesh dropped on my floor was absolutely unreal. So I went around and swept all of that up and then moved my tree more so into position. And now I'm going to add my tree skirt. I got this one off of Amazon. First of all, I thought this tree was going to be more pencil-y than it is, but also this tree skirt is teeny tiny. If I was living in any other sort of space or the tree was in another location in my home, this would not have worked. But because this is a high traffic area, having the smaller skirt isn't that big of a deal. Also, I add fake gifts under my tree every year. These are actually the same gifts that I've been using for the past 4 years. I just go through and fluff up the ribbon and arrange the gifts how, I like them to look and call it a day. Any sort of real gifts that don't match my aesthetic, they go in the closet until Christmas Day. Okay? There's no shame in my game. Once we're completely done with the tree, we're going to move on to, what is this called? TV. It's not a TV stand because the TV's not standing on it. Entertainment center? I don't know what this is called. We're going to start decorating this though. And I'm using 2 of these acrylic candle pedestals. These were actually left over from a wedding that I did a few years ago. And I just have some LED candles sitting on top of them. And then I'm going to go in and add these metal homes that I got from Target. They were about $10 each, and I got them during the Halloween season. And since I'm using black in my decor this year, I decided to repurpose them for Christmas, and they actually worked out really perfectly. I love that I'm now able to use them for both Halloween and Christmas. And so with those homes, I looped the garland that I did not use on my tree this year around the homes, and then added these 2 black trees, the little mini trees that I got again during the Halloween season, repurposing them for Christmas. I added my 2017 snow globe. 2017 is the year that I moved to Atlanta. And then I start adding in my votive candle holders. Some of these are from Target. The big ones are from Target. The smaller ones that I'm placing right now are from Hobby Lobby. And then these little silver ones are the ones that I showed in my wedding decor haul a couple months ago. And I think that they're from Tablecloth Factory. Another item that got repurposed between Halloween and Christmas is this little lantern that sits beside my entertainment center non-TV stand. It just had this little bat sitting at the top, and really that was the only like Halloween-y element to it. So I used some of the ribbon that I used on the tree and tied a big bow and tucked the little bat into one of the loops, called it a day. And it matches the little houses perfectly and ties this area together really nicely. This was my first time tying a ribbon, like a bow like this, and I was scared to touch it afterwards, y'all, but it was fine. It worked out. To finish off this little area, I found this string of lights that I used on my tree that I used to have, but this year I have a pre-lit tree. So I was able to loop these in with the garland and kind of nestle that green wire into the garland. You can barely even see it when it's finished, and adding these lights really was such a nice touch because now I have the lit tree, and then I have the backlight on the TV and the lights going along here, and when the candles are lit, it just turned out so pretty. I also added my little black Santa into this area too. He is from a place in Florida called Bell's, and I got him last year. So now I'm moving on to this little table that sits in between my bedroom and my back door. I start with this sign that says peace. It's in marble. I got this from Home Goods a few years ago. Actually, during the move, the eaves broke, and you can't even tell, but I fixed them. Like I put them back together with Gorilla Glue. Skill. So I set everything out and kind of see how I want things to go, and then I found this runner in my like decor storage that fits this table perfectly. So I put the runner on the table, have some garland on the table, the peace sign. I ended up moving 2 of the big votive holders from the non-TV stand to this table. And then for the second level of this, I kind of had no idea what to do because the reindeer didn't fit. I tried to put Black Santa here, he didn't fit. So it took some trial and error to figure out what would work on this little shelf on this table. Things just weren't fitting, they didn't look right. So eventually I ended up taking this marble Christmas tree that I initially wanted to put in the kitchen, but because it's from the same collection and matches the peace sign perfectly, it just made sense in this area. And it's also from Home Goods. I found it at a completely separate Home Goods from the peace sign, and I'm pretty sure I found it the next year after I found the peace sign. Also, fun fact, this was broken in 2 as well. It broke off at the trunk, and I was able to fix it with Gorilla Glue. Pretty cool. I added these gold stars, and I moved 2 of the large gold votive holders from the TV stand over here. I also added a marble candle pedestal and a Bath & Body Works candle to this table as well. Now in the kitchen, I keep it simple. A really quick, cost-effective way to spruce up your home for the holidays is to change out your wallflowers. So I'm going to change out my pumpkin and put my snowflake in instead. I'm also going to switch out my dish towel to this silver glittery pinecone one that's a bit more festive than the one that usually is here. And then on the marble tray that ended up in the kitchen instead of on the table, I'm going to add my countdown to Christmas. And that's everything, y'all. I'm so in love with how my Christmas decorations came out this year. I love the added edginess from using black in my decor this year, and also the fact that I was able to repurpose so many items between Halloween and Christmas makes decorating for the holidays that much easier and cost effective. I love how the ribbon turned out, even though it was quite laborious to put on the tree. And then the little table with the Christmas ornaments, the stars, the candles. I also ended up adding this little all is calm, all is bright sign from Home Goods that I love. But I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Comment down below. Let me know what your plans are for the holidays this year, what your holiday decor colors were this year. And I thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoy the holiday season with your family and friends. And I will talk to you guys next year.